guys, welcome back to Dinner Made Easy with Dina, and I'm Dina. Today we are going to be making a new macaroni and cheese recipe. This is a really good one. It's a little bit different than my last recipe for macaroni and cheese, and I think you're going to love it. So stick with me. I'm going to take you down that path and show you how we're going to put that together. So we'll get right to it. First thing we're going to do is get our pot of water on, so that we can start boiling our noodles. And then, so we're going to turn this on to high, and we're going to add some sea salt to our water. Guys, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to a few of you out there in my community. I put out there that I need a little bit of help with some folks that would be willing to do some taste testing for me and trying some new recipes, and I got an overwhelming response, and I want to say thank you so much to all you guys out there that are helping me out with this. I really do appreciate it. If you are new to my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, I'd really appreciate it if you'd consider subscribing. If you click the little bell, it will notify you when I have new video content up. And if you like the video, give me that thumbs up. Leave me some comments, because I really appreciate the comments. I'm seeing more and more rolling in, and I really value your opinions, your comments, and it makes me feel really great when I hear people say how much they enjoyed the recipes that I've shared with you. So with that said, we're going to continue on. So I'm doing two 16-ounce boxes of macaroni because I have some requests for meals this week, and I'm going to do some helping out with making some macaroni and cheese as one of them. And this recipe is a new one to me, but it looks absolutely delicious. So we're going to give this one a good try and see how well this turns out. So we're going to start out by grating 8 ounces of sharp cheddar cheese. Next, I have a 2-pound block of Colby Jack cheese. We're not going to need the whole 2-pound block, but I'm going to go ahead and shred it up so I am prepared for the next recipes that I'm going to be making. I'm also going to be using a half a block of cream cheese in my recipe and some Parmesan cheese. So I got some freshly grated Parmesan cheese as well. Okay, we went ahead and pulled our pasta. It is about 2 minutes before it is completely cooked all the way through, and we did that so that when it's in the oven, our noodles don't get mushy. I also wanted to mention that I did rinse the noodles. I still have them in the pan though, as I'm pulling them out with my strainer, because we want to stop the cooking. Now I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, and I think I put about 3 tablespoons in, and toss the noodles, and that just keeps them from sticking together, and it adds a really nice flavor to them. So I'm going to be using Silva's linguica in this recipe. You can use whatever sausage you like if you choose to put some in there, but I thought this sounded really good. So we're going to give it a try. If I can get it out of the package, we're going to give it a try. I'm just going to slice these sausages into bite-sized pieces. Good heavens. There we go. Okay. They're just kind of smaller bite-sized pieces, and I'm slicing a little bit of it on an angle. Just a little bit of an angle. This is going to add the smoky flavor, and it's going to be, oh my goodness, I think it's just going to be wonderful. It's going to take this over the top and back. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and stir in the linguica that I sliced up into the noodles. So I'm just going to put that in there, and we're gonna let that rest here. We did put olive oil on our spaghetti noodles, and that is just so they don't stick together, and it adds a really delicious flavor as well. So let's just give this a nice stir. And we're gonna let this sit while we start on our sauce. Okay, so we're gonna start by melting 1 cube of butter, and I'm using my Dutch oven to do that in. So there's 101 million different ways of making macaroni and cheese out there. And you know what? There's a lot of really, really good recipes. So I thought, you know, I don't always do my macaroni and cheese the same way every single time. I like to mix it up a little bit. And, you know, people like it different ways. So sometimes I make it the way I like. Sometimes I make it the way my mom likes. You know, sometimes I just want to try something new. So that's what we're going to do today. The next thing we're going to do is I have 8 tablespoons of flour that I'm going to add into this, and we're going to form a roux with this, and then a sauce before we mix it all together, because we want to make sure that it is rich and cheesy and ooey gooey goodness. And the best way to do that is to start with a sauce. Okay, so there's our flour. We're just going to stir that in there. And I'm going to turn this to kind of a medium low. We don't want to burn our flour. We want to brown it a little bit, just so it gets that nutty taste to it, and it gets the flour cooked, because the taste of raw flour in anything isn't good. So whenever you're cooking with flour, make sure that you cook it well so you don't get that flour taste. I think when you're just learning to cook and make sauces, that's a common mistake, is trying to rush it. And it's kind of like a fine wine. You don't want to rush your sauce. You want to kind of baby it along. Stir it, make sure it cooks well, so you get all the great flavors from that butter. Lord help us, we've got to have that butter taste. Okay. So we're going to be using some different seasonings and spices too along the way here. Once it starts to cook a little more, okay, I'm going to go ahead and start adding some of the spices. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is we're going to add just a little bit of nutmeg. Now, if you've never used nutmeg for savory cooking, now's the time to start. So I'm just going to give it a couple of little shakes. I'd say that's about 1/4 teaspoon. And if you have fresh nutmeg, even better. Believe me, it just adds a magical flavor to this sauce that we're creating. There we go. Oh, and it smells so good. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some onion powder, okay? So I'm just going to take the lid off so that I don't make too big of a mess. And I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of onion powder in here, okay? 2 tablespoons went in there. Stir that in. And rather than cook in a big clump, I'm stirring between each seasoning I add, okay? There we go. Next thing I'm going to add is some spicy brown mustard, and I'm just going to give this a decent squeeze. That was about 2 tablespoons, okay? And let's mix that in there. And what mustard does is it brings out that cheesy flavor, that kind of that bite in the cheese, if you will. Okay. Next thing is a couple shakes of Tabasco. Now the Tabasco, I'm not looking to make this macaroni and cheese spicy. All that does is it enhances the flavors, okay? Next is some white pepper. And if you don't have white pepper, use brown pepper. And I'm putting about a teaspoon in there. White pepper is a little stronger than black pepper is. So just be real careful that you don't over season, okay? And keep in mind, I'm making a double batch. So, okay, and you know what we're going in with next. Of course, we have Lawry's. I mean, is there anything better than Lawry's? And I would say I use 3 tablespoons, okay? Let's stir that in. And it's really looking good now. And last but not least, we're going to be using some garlic. And I'm going to use about, I'd say a half a tablespoon, okay? Right, there you go. You can use fresh. I like to use the mince that's already cut up because, well, okay, I'm a little lazy about chopping my garlic, okay? Okay, so that's all the spices we're going to put into this. Next comes our milk, okay? My evaporated milk. I always use my evaporated milk. Let's turn this down a little bit. And I'm going to tell you why I use evaporated milk. Now, there are some of you out there who know, but some don't. Evaporated milk is similar to using cream when it comes to the flavor. The difference I find is the evaporated milk does not curdle, whereas the cream can sometimes do that. I'm going to use a whole can. Mix that in just a little bit. And then I'm going to use a half a can of water. Okay. Now also, I have some half and half that I'm going to add in. And I'm just going to add in what I have left. And I only had about a half a cup. So I may wind up putting a little bit more evaporated milk in this, depending on how thick it starts to get our sauce. We don't want it to be so thick we can't stir the the cheese in, because that's essential. But this sauce that we make is where all your flavor is going to come from, besides the cheese, of course. But most of your flavor comes from the sauce. I turned my burner down, so I think I'll turn it up just a little bit so we can get it to come up to temp. So I just turned it up to medium because I don't want to scorch it or burn it. And I'm kind of scraping the bottom as I go as well. And you know, of course, we're going to taste this to make sure we have it seasoned properly. Oh, that's yummy. I would say we're spot on when it comes to the seasonings there. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to add is a half a block of cream cheese. I'm just going to kind of break this cream cheese up in here so it melts a little better. And this is just going to add to our creaminess. Okay, I'm going to turn this down a little again so we don't have it scorch. Once we get that melting pretty good, then we're going to start with our other cheeses here. And I'm thinking we're going to need a little bit more milk in there. Since it is a double batch. Okay, so I will be breaking this down so that it's in a single batch form for you. Make it a little easier for you, okay? But if you have a big family, double it up. That's what I'm doing today, is doubling it up. All right, now it's time to start putting the cheese into the sauce. So we're gonna start with some of this Colby Jack. And we'll stir it in a little at a time so that we don't get big old clumps. Remember, it's a sauce. So we want to stir that in, and we'll go in for some more. A little bit more. Now I grated all the cheese because I wanted some for the top, and we're using several different kinds of cheese today. Now we're going to go in with some cheddar, and this is sharp cheddar. So we've used Colby Jack cheddar, cream cheese. We're going to stir that in. And this is going to be so ooey gooey. Let's taste that. That is yummy. Okay, I'm going to add the rest of the cheddar. A little bit more of the Jack. There we go. Let's stir that in. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Look at that. That looks pretty darn good. And so I put a pound of Colby Jack in here, 8 ounces of cheddar, a half of a cube of cream cheese, and that's the cheeses that I've used so far. Now, I want to give this one more try. Oh man, that's good. Now, the last thing I'm going to add is, where is it? There it is. I'm going to add some ground turmeric. Now, I know that might sound a little crazy, but what turmeric does, it's an anti-inflammatory, first of all, but secondly, it doesn't add a whole lot of flavor. But what it does do is it adds some really pretty color to our sauce. So to brighten it up just a little bit. Now you can use the Colby Jack, or just the, the Monterey Jack cheese if you like it a little spicier. If I was making it for me, I would do that, and I would add a can of green chilies in here because I like it with a little bit of a bite. But it's not for me, so I'm not making it for me. Let's taste that now. Okay, that's perfect. Now what we're going to do is we're going to mix it all together. Okay. Well, I'm going to try real hard not to make a mess. So don't laugh if I make a mess, okay? Please don't laugh. Let's turn that burner off so we're not continuing to cook. All right, in the pot with it. This is our liquid gold. Gonna have to scrape it, but that's okay. We're gonna give this a good stir now and get all of our noodles nice and wet with this cheese sauce. And then the next thing we have to do is get it in our pans, and then we're going to top it off with something else just to take it over the top. Before we go too much further here, I'm going to add just a touch more liquid. And I'm going to use some more evaporated milk just because I don't want it to dry out too much. It needs to be creamy and yummy, not dry and yucky. So I added probably a quarter of a can to that. There we go. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to turn around this way. And so you can see what I'm doing here. So I melted a stick of butter, okay? And in that stick of butter, we're going to add some breadcrumbs. And I'm just measuring it with love. I'm not sure exactly how many we need. So I'm going to do a little at a time until we get where we want it to be. Because we want to be able to crumble this. And I don't normally add breadcrumbs to the top, but I thought, why not? Let's give it a try. I've seen other people do it. I can sure do it. We'll try it and see how it comes out. And then hopefully the folks that are getting these meals will let me know if they like the breadcrumbs on top or not. If you don't like the breadcrumbs, let me know, because I won't do it next time. Okay. Like I said, we want to be able to crumble these. And we got quite a bit of real estate there with our macaroni and cheese. I think I need just a little more. There we go. Right, I think that's about right. Okay. Now, before I add that, I'm going to come in with some Parmesan cheese. So we're going to add a little Parmesan cheese to the top here, because you know, well, it's cheese and you can never have too much of that, right? And I'm just going to sprinkle. And this does add a little salt to it, so which is good, because I thought the macaroni and cheese tasted pretty good, but not everybody likes it super salty, so I kind of held back a little with the salt. You know, salt's not that great for you anyway, but then you can salt it up however you want to. Okay, there's that. And then we've got our other little bowl here we're going to do up for our other taste tester, these folks are really helping me out. I just can't say enough about them. I was so surprised and excited about the response I got when I asked for help. And most of these people I don't know, you know, and they're just reaching out saying, hey, I'll help you out. And that says a lot about your community when you got folks that are willing to just jump in and help out. And so makes me feel good. Now I'm going to crumble the breadcrumbs right over the top. And this is new to me too, guys. So, you know, I'm right there with you, not knowing really how that's going to come out, but we're going to try it together and see how it turns out. And I used Italian style breadcrumbs, because that's what I had on hand. So it's about using what you got, folks. Okay. This should make it nice and crunchy too on the top. So you'll have that nice crunchy topping to your mac and cheese. Okay, so let's go over to our single serving here. Let's add some on that. Can't wait to see how this turns out. And I'm going to share it with you guys so you'll be able to see it as well. My light's a little dark in here today. The light I use when I'm doing my videos isn't working, so I'm kind of having to go without it today. I'm sorry, guys. I hope the picture quality's okay. There we go. Okay, now we're ready to get these in the oven. The oven has been preheated to 375. All we're doing is making sure that it's hot and that we have browning on the top, and we'll be good to go. If you're using these disposable pans, make sure you put it on, I should have done it before I filled it. Make sure you put it on a cookie sheet, because when you go to get it out of the oven, it's going to be really heavy, and this will save you a lot of headache. So cookie sheet, guys. Okay, now we're going to take a look at it as soon as we're finished and see how well that came out. I'm kind of excited. I hope you are too. Okay, there it is in the oven. I'm going to cook it uncovered. It's probably going to be about 30 to 40 minutes for the large one, and I would say probably about 25 minutes for the small one. Okay, let's check these out, see what they look like. There's the smaller one. That looks pretty good. Gosh, here's the bigger one. They look delicious. So this has been in the oven for about 30 minutes, and the larger one has been in the oven for about 30 minutes. Now the larger one I'm going to be taking to a family tomorrow, so I think this is as far as I'm going to go with it. So when they put it back in the oven to reheat it, it's not going to burn. But as you notice, the breadcrumbs look really crispy on there. I think it came out pretty good. We're going to taste it here in a second just to make sure it tastes good, okay? Okay, let's just take a little taste right out of the corner here. Hey, there you guys are. Okay, here's our little taste. We're gonna try that and see how it came out. It's super, super hot. I did make a large one, 2 smaller ones, and then a really small one, so my mom could have some, okay? That's not bad. That's really good. It's a little bit different tasting macaroni and cheese than my original one, but let me tell you what, don't throw shade on this. This is really excellent. Give this one a try too, you guys. This is really, really good. It's a little different, but it's really, really good. It's got some great flavor in there. Give it a try. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate all your input, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to spend it with me today. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I'm trying to hit that 2,000 mark, and I'd really appreciate any help I can get with that. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a great day.